What are your thoughts about the situation with the ACA and the Republican GOP health plan?
Well, the Trump plan that's been offered is very destructive to New York. It's going to cut millions of people off of basic health care. It's going to cost a lot more money for our seniors. They're the ones who are overwhelmingly burdened. It's also going to cost a lot more for women with infants, and it's going to cost a lot more for women in general. To not have Planned Parenthood provide care in places like the North Country is really problematic because a lot of people get their basic health care from Planned Parenthood, especially rural areas.
What do you think of the amendment calling for the state to take over Medicaid?
I think it's problematic, and it just makes a very bad bill worse. It's going to be a $2 billion hole for our state.
The Trump budget zeroes out essential air service. Plattsburgh, Saranac Lake, airlines that fly in there count on that. Do you think the airlines will be able to continue to fly if they lose part or all of that funding?
Well, we're going to have to fight against that funding cut because it will really harm this region. It'll harm our businesses, it'll harm families, it'll harm tourism, and we rely on those tourists coming in. So if you don't have air service, it impedes people who want to travel. You know, our communities who might want to visit family members, might want to go to Florida. Like, you don't know what these families need, and honestly, if you eliminate local service, it's a problem. So we're going to have to fight against that and make sure that budget cut does not stay there.
Critics say that you could drive to an airport 100 miles away. Do you think, though, that the rural airports need to be subsidized?
Rural airports are really important, and they make a huge difference. Yes, of course, you can drive an hour or 2 hours to other airports, but it's not the same. If you have regional service, you're going to get more economic growth, you're going to have more commerce in general, you're going to have more businesses locate here, and you're going to have more tourism.
How do you feel about funding for the environment and organizations like the Environmental Protection Agency?
Well, to cut funding for the EPA means you are okay with dirty air and dirty water. I mean, the EPA is what guarantees clean drinking water around this state, around this country, and clean air to breathe. And New York has some of the highest asthma rates in the country. We have huge problems with tainted and poisoned water, whether it's PCBs, whether it's TCEs, or whether it's PFOAs. Like, these are all horrible chemicals that are carcinogens that if it gets in our drinking water, it can be hugely problematic for human health. And so we need the EPA to be a watchdog for our communities, and to cut their funding means less help when we need it.
On the environment, the Keystone XL pipeline, the administration is trying to push that through. What do you make of that? Is there anything that could be done?
Well, I've opposed the Keystone strategy for a long time because it's an export strategy. It doesn't have any oil for America to make our gas prices cheaper. It's literally oil from Canada taken through America, so we take all the risks of any kind of spill or any kind of problem, and then it exports it to Mexico, from Mexico straight to China and other places. So it's not even oil for us. Why should we take all the risks? We don't even get the profits from the drilling. It's from Canada. So it's not a great strategy for the U.S.
Last question, and then we got to run.
This morning there were reports of ICE raids on sanctuary cities, new reports. What do you make of that and just the general crackdown on immigration?
Well, unfortunately, this is a president who wants to build walls and build division and break up families. And I have to say it's mean and it's destructive. A lot of our families in New York will be impacted directly. Families in the North Country, families throughout the state. It also is going to put a very huge pressure on our dairy farmers, which we have in the North Country, as well as other farmers. It's just, you need comprehensive immigration reform, and just sending out ICE raids around the country is just solely designed to tear up families and to harm our local economies. It's not well thought through, and it's not smart.
We got to run.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Thank you for covering
Thank
all
you.
good issues.